2 has entered the podcast.
Welcome back, people, to Player 2 has entered the podcast. That podcast about video games, nerd shit, two friends catching up for the week. I am your co-host, Michael, a.k.a. MC Paperstacks, and with me, as always, is my co-host with the co-most.
Derek, a.k.a. Full Metal Merc, and we're back for another week, an exciting week in gaming.
It was an exciting week in gaming. We had a thing.
Yeah.
We had a thing.
I would say big thing, but...
I mean, it was a thing.
Yeah.
It's been a couple weeks since we had a thing. We had a thing.
Yeah.
It was a gaming thing.
We noticed it.
Yeah.
It's trying.
Jerry. It was a gaming thing.
Oh, we had a thing.
Why don't you talk about the thing?
What? I already talked about the thing. I don't want to talk about the thing.
The thing about the thing is you don't have to talk about it because everybody knows it's a thing.
Right.
The podcast for boomers who remember Seinfeld. Anyways, how's your week been going, man?
It's pretty good, man. I have been maxing and relaxing, chilling, and actually, you know what? There's something new. Vicky started her job, and she has to drive all the way to Danville.
Oh.
Every day for like 90 days.
If she needs like a rest stop or something, tell her she can stop by any time because we're literally on the way. That's insane.
Yeah, so it's like an hour and 20 minutes for her to get back from work every day. Well, she goes 3 days a week, and then it's virtual like 2 days out of the week. Mm-hmm. I'm like, God damn, man.
Yeah, hopefully maybe she can lobby to switch that to full virtual. That sounds terrible.
Yeah, so now we're trying to figure out the car situation because I've been like driving her sister to work and using her car, and she's been taking our car all the way to work, and I'm like, okay, we guess we gotta get another car because I keep on borrowing.
Yeah, we're down to one car, and I like to keep it that way. Like, we've had two cars for the longest, and we save so much money in gas.
Yeah.
Just not having to go anywhere anymore, both of us working from home.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to keep that going as long as possible. I feel your pain. I remember both of us were on the road commuting for hours out of the day, and now we're so used to the time we have now. I'm like, how do we even have time to drive? It's like because you have to, you know?
Right.
You figure it out. Well, I hope that works out soon. How's she liking her new job?
Más o menos.
Moving on. So,
well, it's in her field.
Yeah,
it's
more like gathering experience rather than
exactly.
Like, okay, well, at least there's that. There's a lot of people our age and younger, a lot of millennials that went to school, learned a thing, and they do not get to work using those skills.
And do that thing.
Yeah, right. Doing the thing. So at least she's doing the thing.
Yes.
Hooray. Congratulations, Vicky.
Yes, love you, baby.
All right. Well, we're watching a lot of Netflix this week and last week.
Yes, we are.
And we talked about Hawkeye briefly last week. Before we get to Hawkeye, I want to complain. I thought, because you had mentioned another Kevin Hart show, I thought the show that you had mentioned was True Story.
Wait, what Kevin Hart show did I?
Parenthood.
No, that's not the Kevin Hart show.
I thought it was.
Oh. No.
I think because we watched a movie about Kevin Hart being a parent, and I was like, oh, it must be the Kevin Hart. So then Parenthood left my brain. Kevin Hart stayed. And then when I went to Netflix, I was like, True Story. That's what he's watching.
Gotcha.
And so I go to watch True Story, and it's like this crime thriller, but Kevin Hart is playing himself. I mean, he's changed his name to The Kid, which is weird. Even his brother calls him Kid. I'm like, you ain't got a real name? And this is what's weird. I feel like if you're gonna be a person who is in a movie or a show and you're acting as a character who has the same job as you, like say Adam Sandler in Funny People, I think you need to have everything else around that be super fake because it's hard to separate that person from their real world counterpart.
Right.
And True Story, like the first thing he does is go on Ellen. It's really weird. Yeah. And like a lot of it just draws a lot of parallels to his real life. He's divorced. He's got, they got a kid together. He talks about CNN and other like real world stuff. But essentially his brother, played by Wesley Snipes, is kind of shady. He gets him into some shit and then drama ensues.
Right.
And it's very violent and very dark. But it's got a lot of riffing, which is weird. So there's like this tonal shift back and forth between Kevin Hart trying to be funny and then ad-libbing some scenes and then some real shit happening. And then the actual plot itself, I guessed from the first episode, I think it's only like 4 or 5. It's like a limited series, 4 or 5 episodes long. It's not great. Watch it if you just want to if you want to see something that's not that interesting. But moving on, Hawkeye. Hawkeye.
Yeah.
So I wasn't following this. I had no plans to really get into it. When it was out, there was already 2 or 3 episodes available. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was already 2 episodes available. That's what it was. When I finally was like, oh, we should probably get around to watching that. And the first 2 episodes, in my opinion, didn't really grab me, but they didn't completely turn me away either.
Same.
They definitely, in my opinion, were the worst first 2 episodes out of the bunch of Marvel shows.
Mm-hmm.
And again, not necessarily bad, but there were some bad parts. The introduction of Kate Bishop was kind of fast-tracked and awkward, but I get why they had to do that.
Mm.
And she actually is really coming into her own in the character, but in her first action scene was poorly choreographed, and
yeah.
I felt like she didn't show up to rehearsal like she should have. And the other actors, it's just stunt-wise, they were all kind of awkward, and it called so much attention to it, I stopped paying attention to the story.
Right.
But I have to say that from episode 3 on, and I think we've both seen episode 4 by now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not only has the show really come into its own, and it's had some really great action scenes, decent car chase, and a lot of cool stuff, Hawkeye and Kate Bishop have great chemistry.
Oh, yeah.
They really do. And I really like how they play off of each other and the kind of mentorship that naturally forms between the two of them. And the stakes of this one and kind of the plot are not world ending or anything major. They're Hawkeye level,
Right.
They're actually quite personal. And they still tie into the previous movies. Some surprises, some people that show up, some people you think are going to show up later on because they keep name dropping and stuff. And it's just exciting to see what's going to happen week to week. But personally, I'm super sold. After episode 3 and 4, I'm here for it.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I'm definitely here for it. I'm just wondering these last 2 episodes, because I think it's only going to be 6 episodes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so it's like,
oh, yeah, they're going to have to kind of crunch it a little bit.
Yeah, we got to push through this. And
to be fair, though, that would be, a feature length of content. Yeah. And we already have the plot kicked off and kind of the second act. If you were to do a movie structure, we're kind of in the second act because some doubts have crept in. There's a wedge between the relationship of Hawkeye and Kate Bishop a little bit from what happened at the end of episode 4. You know what I mean? Without spoiling it too much. So episode 5 and 6 can kind of be that third act.
Right.
Where they bring it back around and bring it home. You know what I mean? So in that aspect, I think it's paced pretty well.
Yeah. I like the trick arrows.
Trick arrows are cool.
I like that, slight spoilers, I like that they have to be retrieved because he's like, she's like, where are all the trick arrows? He's like, there are no more. You got to go get them back. The arrows, the actual base of the arrows are what you need to get back.
Yeah.
In order for you to be able to fit the particular arrowhead on it.
Which leads to a funny conversation about boomerang arrows.
Right.
Which Hawkeye's like, that's dumb. No. That actually leads me to one criticism I do have of the show, other than kind of the sloppy execution of some of the action scenes in the first couple of episodes. There is a side plot where he has to get some equipment similar to the arrows. In fact, I think the arrows ends up being one of the things he also has to get. But with LARPers, which is fine, it's interesting. You have superhero equipment that a LARPer finds and they want to use it. That's funny. The thing is, this particular group of LARPers is made up of mostly policemen and firefighters. And nothing against firefighters, but I don't like how cuddly and nerdy they're making New York City police in this show. They're just lovable, nerdy LARPers. It's just it feels like propaganda a little bit. And yeah, I'm letting it go. I'm like, fucking Disney Marvel, man. You just can't help yourselves, can you? It's almost as gross as Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man, when you're going around being Spider Cop and putting up surveillance towers for policemen in New York.
Right.
Fuck right off. Other than that, though, if you can stomach that, decent show. I'm into it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. Hopefully some big names show up. And, we go from there.
Yeah, maybe we'll get some friends together and do another spoiler cast like we did for Loki. That was a lot of fun.
Ooh, yeah.
Speaking of spoiler cast, I think we're safe to go ahead and announce it. We decided we're going to do a spoiler cast for Guardians of the Galaxy, the game. Oh, yeah. I have a definite and a maybe as far as other guests, friends of ours who have finished the game who want to join us on that. So it should be a lot of fun. I imagine we'll probably record it sometime next week, so expect in the next couple of weeks that episode dropping sometime.
Cool.
So that'll be a lot of fun. All right. But speaking of games that we're playing and excited about, let's get on to what we've been playing this week.
All right.
Last week, we had a guest, a wonderful guest, the Retro Runner.
Yes.
Good stuff. And I always do this. I get so concerned about the length of the episode and moving things along and making sure that, the guest is engaged, that I sometimes gloss over my own notes and forget to say things.
Mm-hmm.
Rabbit-eared listeners may have noticed in the beginning of the previous episode I mentioned a fun story tied to one of the games I played. And I never really told any fun stories. I mean, other than like specific to the games. And this was outside of that. So I want to talk about that this week. During the holidays, I was out of town and I was playing Among Us on my phone for the very first time with a group of friends from the Gamer Friends Discord. And we were having a really good time. And we were staying at this Airbnb. So it's just like this regular ass house in downtown Dayton. And my son is in a room adjacent to like the front, like facing the street. And he is just being 5. He's like screaming his head off and acting along with his shows. And I got both my headphones in and I'm playing Among Us with friends, just having a good time, accusing people of murder and being accused of murder, as you do. My wife comes in from our bedroom to where I'm at in the living room, and she goes, "Hey, did you hear somebody outside, like just outside, asking if you're okay?" I'm like, "What?" It was really creepy. I heard a man's voice go, "Are you okay?" And it was like, "Was it on the TV?" I'm like, "I didn't hear. I had my headphones in. I didn't hear shit." She goes, "Okay, well, I'm gonna go take a shower." Cool. Famous last words. Billy, is that you?
Is that you?
Quit playing. I'm gonna get naked and vulnerable.
Right.
So she goes off to take a shower. I continue playing Among Us, and then my dog just starts barking like crazy, like burr, 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 burr. And of course, some time has passed. My son comes out of the room he was in, and he's like, "Daddy, I think there's somebody at the door." And I was like, "Oh, that would explain why she's barking like crazy." So I go to answer the door, and there's a cop outside, a Dayton City police officer. And I was like, is everything okay? And he goes, "We had reports of a woman screaming for help in this house." And I was like,
Silly me.
That's my 5-year-old.
I forgot to put the muzzle on her.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, that'd be smart to say to the cop. No, I told him, I was like, "No, it's my son. He's 5. He screams. It sounds like a woman, I guess."
Right.
And I was like, "Do you want to come in?" He was like, No, that's okay.
Right.
Just, just checking. I was like, "Okay."
Was
bye.
His hand on his gun?
No,
on his quote unquote taser?
No. He had his neck exposed and everything. He was very trusting. I don't know how exactly that would have went down and had my wife answered, but I'm glad that she was taking a shower and then I answered the door. I'll just say that. But it was
when you called me and told me about it, I was just like, imagine just getting the cops coming to your door, asking you a question, you answering, and then leaving, and you getting to go about your day. Like,
imagine being treated like a human being.
Right.
Yeah. Privilege is a word, but I feel like it's almost just normity. Like it should be how things are. It should be how everyone's treated. And I know that if I look different, my answer would not have sufficed, and I probably would have been tased and handcuffed on that living room floor. So luckily everything went fine, and I told my son to stop screaming like a woman when we're in a strange house.
Like a woman. You scream like a man, okay?
Well, luckily, out here in the burbs, we're far separated from other houses, so he can scream all he wants, and he's used to doing that, and nobody can hear or call the cops, so that's good. No one can hear you scream at my home, which is great. So yeah, I forgot to tell that story last week.
It bodes well for our plans.
Down in the basement. Doesn't have a basement. The house must have a basement. That was actually a requirement when we built.
Oh, yeah.
Grand Theft Auto, the Definitive Edition, got its first patch post, or at least I think it's its first patch. One of its post, everybody's angry patches.
Right.
And I saw that. It was huge. It was like 18 gigs. It was something dumb.
Yeah,
just for San Andreas. Huge.
Woo.
So I hopped on San Andreas to see. I couldn't tell if they fixed the on-foot shooting. I was still kind of getting worked over a little bit in the gang war. It didn't fix the radio skipping. There were still some graphical hitches. I don't really know what they fixed. I still have yet to see a sign, big or small, being misspelled. So maybe that was one of the things. I heard they fixed the barber. He actually looks old again. Because he looks like a young man because of the
he's
auto.
like, come on, sit down, CJ. Come on, young buck.
He looks like Webster.
Right. Come on, young buck. Get on in here, chill. Let me go ahead and cut you.
Oh my god. Anyways, yeah, he looks like the proper cat daddy he should. So other than that, still playing a lot of Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. Not much to report. The Underground, I'm doing a lot of that, and I've been exploring a lot of the bigger caves where you can catch Pokemon, and it's cool. You know, not really much else to say about it. I'm disappointed in the hideouts, though. I had mentioned that you can't bury your shards anymore. I'm over that, but the hideouts are just used to generate certain types of Pokemon in little areas where you can catch them. Mm-hmm. You get these statues often of different types of Pokemon, and if you put a statue in your hideout, the first one you place, its type. So say if you put a statue of Pikachu, then your type will be electric. No matter what other Pokemon you place, it'll be electric. Right. And you can only strengthen it by putting other electric statues. If you put a rock statue, it does nothing. That just means that more electric Pokemon are likely to show up in those areas where you can catch them. Right. But I remember in the original game, this is what I was kind of low-key excited about. It was more cosmetic. You could put up posters and furniture and little like toys or gadgets. Like you could really make it a proper hideout, like that a kid would love to hang out and that you could show off to your friends. Mm-hmm. It was more like Animal Crossing-esque. I mean, not obviously that robust, but it felt more like a kid's secret hideout. This is just a statue dungeon to stack odds for what Pokemon you're going to find. And so far, that's it. And that sucks. That really sucks.
I've pretty much established that Pokemon is just obviously not for me anymore because, I mean...
You're kind of over it.
Oh, yeah, I'm old.
Until Arceus?
It's not a... I don't even think that's going to be for me.
Really?
Yeah, no. I mean, it's...
Well, I'll fall on that sword because I'm interested, so I think I am going to pick up Arceus early. I'll let you know whether or not I think that you would be into it just based off of what you're over and what, brought you to the yard in the first place, if that makes sense.
Like, I need Pokemon to get back into it. I need Pokemon to have, like, an actual good story.
You know the last good story from Pokemon, arguably, in my opinion? Black and White.
2?
Yeah. Oh. Well, yeah, 1 and 2. Because they kind of go into each other.
Right.
2, I think, was better, but only because it had all the build-up from 1. But yeah, Black and White, 1 and 2.
And those decent. Don't feel like that long ago, but they're literally like
they were the last. Yeah, that was Generation 5. And they were the last Pokemon games released for the regular DS before it moved to 3DS. So that would have been just prior to X and Y.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow, they're old.
Yeah, Pokemon. There's over 1,000 Pokemon now if you count all the different variants and everything.
Yikes.
Insane. I can't remember them all anymore.
Yeah.
I think once Generation 4 came around, that was the last time I finished my Pokédex. And after that, I just couldn't remember them all anymore.
Yeah, so. And then there's the, sorry, I keep talking about it, but then there's the thing that there are so many Pokemon, when I go into playing it, like I have to literally look up, what does this evolve into? Is this worth my time training?
Yeah, and some of the evolution tricks, especially like in Sword and Shield recently, they're kind of wacky. Mm. Like you have to level up while traveling under this particular rock, something stupid.
Yeah.
And that's like brand new from a pre-existing Pokemon that they changed the evolution. Yeah. When you have to bust out a guide while you play a game, I'm not a huge fan of that. I mean, sometimes it can work out in your favor, but when it comes to like it not being intuitive or you can't find it in the game itself, that's annoying.
Yeah.
So I agree with you there. It needs some major overhaul and iteration. I'm still with it. I have to admit I'm enjoying myself playing it, but
that's good.
I mean, I think it's mainly just nostalgia,
Yeah.
I went through and did the Nuzlocke earlier this year, and it's just fun to see kind of the parallel between that and this one. And it just feels faster because it's got all the modern iterations of leveling up and things. It's still way too slow. A big complaint I have about Pokemon that I hope they can eventually get over is the pedigree of, okay, you get into a battle, the Pokemon they pan around the Pokemon that you find, or that comes, if it's a trainer battle, then you got to wait for the trainer to throw the Pokemon out. It comes out, and then you come out. And if there's a weather effect, it has to go, it's raining. the rain continues to fall. So that's 2 frames, right? And then if the opponent Pokemon or you have an ability that immediately like lowers a stat, then it's like Gyarados' Intimidate lowers your attack. We still haven't got to play yet, right?
Right.
And then in this game and some of the more modern iterations, when the friendship is up really high, then it has to go, Infernape is bouncing around and wants to do well in this battle for you.
Seems like you're really good friends.
Yeah. So you have to
should
wait
go
for that.
drinks after this.
Exactly. Exactly. And you still haven't got to even select your first attack. And then boom, now you're ready to do your first attack. So you select your attack. And then it's like, Infernape used slash. And then you see the animation. And then it was super effective. Geodude hung on using Endure. Geodude used his move. It did this.
Yeah.
It's so slow. It's so slow. Especially after playing something like Tales of Arise. There's so much that happens in those battles, but I feel like they last, on average, as long or much quicker than a Pokemon battle, if you can believe it. For all that crazy shit going on, it's just insane to me. So I agree with you. Like, they're in desperate, dire need of iteration, but obviously they outsold, I think, Sword and Shield, the remakes. Yeah. People still love the shit out of Pokemon. And I get it, because this is a remake of a lot of people's first Pokemon. Think about how long ago it came out. So they're just riding on nostalgia. They'll just keep doing these remasters every so often. And then the kids who, that was their first Pokemon game, they're going to come back and they're going to buy it up no matter how lazy or half-assed it is.
If they do a Switch Gold and Silver, then I'm in.
Me too.
I'm absolutely in on
Me too.
Because I'm like, okay, I know that Cyndaquil evolves into Quilava, evolves into Typhlosion, Pupitar into Tyranitar, Larvitar. Like, I know that.
And it could even be iteration in the reverse. I loved how simple and clean, to coin a phrase. I knew that was going to get you to do that. But no, I loved how simple and clean Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee was. They took away the natures and a lot of the extra bullshit. It was just basic, simple Pokemon. And it was just riding off of the basicness of the original games. And just like this one, it's tile for tile, but it was 3D. And they kind of made catching Pokemon more streamlined. And it felt easier and better, and something that you could play with someone who doesn't play Pokemon very often. Like the whole co-op aspect. There was enough iteration there, even though some would argue it was dumbed down, that it felt really fresh.
Right.
And I would love to see something like that here, or like you said, with a Gold and Silver remake. So that's Pokemon for you. Lawn mowing simulator. Grass Blasters is doing. Now, we were bankrupt a little bit. We were in the red a little bit this week, but we pulled ourselves like a phoenix from the ashes, which, by the way, is an actual achievement.
Right. I've risen.
We got the best 2 lawnmowers in the game.
Ooh.
I'm out here like just having the amount of time it takes to cut these estate lawns.
$50,000 lawnmowers, baby.
Yeah, I think the most expensive one was like 38,000 pounds because I'm in England. So
right.
I gotta tell you, I think this business is really going to take off. I just finally got enough rep to get $50,000 loans. So if I take out 3 of those, I can get myself a big building and hire more people. So
baby.
I think you're going to see Grass Blasters really start to take off. So it looks like Grass Blasters is blasting off again. It continues to be a game about mowing lawns. I continue to play it. I cannot explain myself, and I do apologize for those out there that are disturbed by this.
That's all right. We all have our vices.
We'll call it a vice, sure.
Yeah.
Bucky O'Hare. I tried out Bucky O'Hare on the NES.
Okay. Yeah.
I put up a little like mini TikTok about it, like a hidden gem thing. I let TikTok edit it for me. I was like, fuck it. I was going to turn it into a favorite keep delete episode, but I liked the way they edited it. I was like, oh, this is cool. I'll keep it. And it is really, 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 really hard.
Bad. Oh.
No.
I'm just kidding.
No, it's solid. Everything that the Retro Runner said about it last week is true. But also, I mean, of course he took to it. He speedruns Ninja Gaiden.
Right.
It's very hard. And you can choose 4 different levels when you first start. I think it's to rescue your compadres, which then you could change and use their abilities. But at first, you just start with good old Bucky. It's got his little blaster.
Bucky O'Hare.
And it is something that you definitely have to learn and practice and do kind of levels in a certain order in order to make it easier on yourself. The music, it does bang. I gotta admit, the music is really decent. I don't know if it's my favorite soundtrack of the NES library, but then again, I didn't get a chance to listen to but like 5 songs while I was playing it. But what I heard so far, it was actually pretty good. Hello there, this is Mike from the future, and you're probably wondering, what are you doing here in the middle of my podcast episode? Well, food came and we got interrupted and we went on a huge side tangent, and then part of what we were talking about we felt like we wanted to include in the episode. So enjoy this brief interlude where we discuss the ill fate of the live-action Cowboy Bebop series on Netflix before we return to your regularly scheduled Whatcha Playing segment. Thank you. Since we just interluded a little bit, and I'm going to cut most of it out, do you want to talk about the fact that Cowboy Bebop got canceled?
Yeah. Well, we can.
We just remembered while we're waiting on your food.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. It's a little sad.
It is sad.
Some people actually did like it. Like, I don't care if a show exists. Whatever,
right.
Man. You know, it wasn't for me, but at the
it's
same
just
time,
funny.
It's
like canceled. Because, like, all the basically, I'm going to call all of Netflix's marketing shit talking. All the shit talking they did.
They did talk shit. That's true.
To say that they were like, look at this. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. And they canceled it like a week or 2 after it debuted.
And the thing is, they didn't want to course correct or tweak. They don't. I mean, they spent all that money on costumes and training and sets, and you're just throwing all of that.
That's how you know they got money to blow. They got money to fucking blow.
That's true.
Oh my god,
they could have paid for all of Scott's Todd's tuitions. Make their dreams come true. Yeah, no, I'm not surprised, but it's funny. Even though I didn't like the show, it was a little sad. I was like, oh, that's rough. So, yeah, and the little kid that played Ed, I heard it was their dream. They really liked Ed as a show. I don't know how much of that is marketing, how much of that is sincere, but I like to believe it's sincere, and that sucks for them.
Unfortunate.
Well, poor Cowboy Bebop. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Make your dreams come true. Hey, Mr. Scott.
Okay,
it's like stuck in my head now.
Yeah, I got one bite in. All right.
So those were, just to get back to video games. Those were the games that I played. Okay. I played a couple that you played, but I'm gonna hold off and let you kind of lead into that. So, GTA, Among Us, Pokemon, Mowing the Lawn, Bucky O'Hare. That's too hard over there.
Right.
What you got?
Obviously, I'm still playing Shin Megami Tensei 5.
Yeah.
Not much to report. Just more grinding. Like, the area that I'm in, the bosses are like levels upwards of 70. And I'm at level like 64, so I definitely I have to do some grinding.
Yes.
Got to find some Mitamas.
Yeah.
And I keep forgetting which ones give you the most experience. I think it's the gold ones, but they're like a gold one and a bronze one. But sometimes the blue ones give you a lot of experience, but also they give you glory crystals. So I don't know. I gotta look it up.
Okay.
But yeah, so SMT5, still really dope.
Yeah.
Love it. Halo dropped this week, the campaign, and meh.
Yeah.
I keep hearing everybody, well, I keep seeing on the internet, everybody's like, oh, 10 out of 10, I fucking love it. Oh, love Halo. And I'm like, it's just really not doing it for me.
You think it's just like rose tinted?
Yeah, I really do think so. And my issue with it is that apparently the antagonist from this game was introduced in Halo Wars 2. And I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that nobody that plays Halo casually played Halo Wars 2. So it's just kind of like this new group just comes in and they're like, yes, we are the villains.
And I'm assuming they're poorly explained, hinging on the knowledge of the previous game.
Yeah, and considering the way that Halo 5 Guardians ended, I was expecting it to be like, spoilers for Halo 5 Guardians, if you care. Cortana fucking activated all these fucking Guardians, basically attacking the universe, but they don't even mention that. Like, and I've played the game for 2 hours, and I'm like, what's going on with Cortana?
Maybe this is a variant Master Chief in a different multiverse.
Maybe, but that upset me. That upset me a little bit. So I'm like, I'm just like, I dropped it for the next game because while we were watching the Game Awards, They kept talking about this game, kept talking about it. Deathloop.
Yeah.
And me and you were like, we're going to have to drop whatever games we're currently playing just to play it because apparently it's good and we need to play it.
It's literally, as the time of recording, it's December 10th. We're not going to be able to finish it for the end of the year. And if it's as good as everybody says it is, we're probably going to want to include it in our top 5 games of the year list.
Yeah, definitely. So. But so started it. First of all, I'd like to say that this is a little spoiler for later, but I feel like the voice actor for Colt should have fucking won that. Because within like the first 5 minutes, I'm like, oh, he's fucking killing it.
I agree.
Yeah, like he's killing it. And even Juliana, like they're both like the voice acting in this game is
it's good,
fucking top notch. I love it.
Yeah, it's the writing paired with the main 2 characters. The voice acting for the jobbers and like the regular people, it's about as serviceable as I think it needs to be. But where it really shines, like you said, those main 2 characters, they're fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean gameplay wise, it's basically Dishonored. Let's not get ourselves. There are some little tweaks here and there, but for the most part, it's Dishonored. And I like Dishonored. Don't get me wrong, but I could never finish it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was like fatigue from all the BioShock, because Dishonored was basically BioShock.
What was the story in Dishonored? Exactly.
Right.
Right. This gameplay needs a good story to drive it along, I think, in order for it to really hook. Because by itself, I don't think it has staying power. You know, we talked on the show before. I don't know why I'm drawing this parallel, but it just popped in my head. We talked about director-dependent actors. Well, now in terms of gameplay, I feel like there is story-dependent gameplay, gameplay-dependent story, and then those that can stand on their own no matter how good or bad their counterpart is. And I think the Dishonored gameplay is story-dependent.
Yeah, for sure.
Or at least it's much more elevated by a good story. Like Hades, for instance. I remember, again, last night we were watching the Game Awards, and one of the gamer friends, and she was saying that Hades was the only roguelike that she likes. So for her, the gameplay loop or formula of a roguelike is not enough to hook her. It's story dependent for her, right? But what really elevates the roguelike gameplay in Hades is its story. The marriage is tight.
Yeah.
And again, the story is intricately tied to this quasi-roguelike formula here in Deathloop because there is a loop, right?
Yeah.
And I think that really helps kind of move things along. So.
Yeah, for sure. And I haven't actually died yet, besides the first time that you die in the story.
Yeah.
Because I was wondering when the game came out, I was like, how is this loop thing going to work? Because if you loop, you're going to go all the way back to the beginning, and like, are you going to have your weapons and stuff? Well, when you die, you go back to the start of that day. So whenever you get to a new area, time passes on, and eventually it will pass on to the next day.
It'll groundhog you back to the beginning, whether you die or not, if enough time passes.
Yeah. But every time you do go back, you lose all your upgrades and your weapons and stuff. But obviously you'll know where they are. And you can go back and find them and everything. I really like it. I really like it so far.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying I really like it so far. Honestly, something about the combat just gives me anxiety. Because it's like, oh no, everybody saw me. Fuck.
Fair enough.
And I don't have like enough powers or anything. So I got like a few guns. And I'm just like, there's like 20 people here.
Yeah.
I'm going to hide in this room and just wait for them to walk into the doorway.
Well, it sounds like I'm a little bit farther along than you, because when you get further in the story, you discover a way to take things with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn, how long you been?
You may have noticed there are objects in the world that kind of have a glimmer to them.
Yes.
There's a reason for that. There's a story reason for that. Yeah.
I figured.
And that's tied to how you can imbue objects with the ability to come with you on a loop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's going to be kind of the quasi-rogue light progression.
Oh, I'm assuming they're like objects that are stay the same across loops type thing.
I mean, I don't really think I need to break it down here, but just know that it's reliable. Like, you'll see what it is when it comes up, for sure.
Okay.
And as far as the game itself, the more I play it, the more I like it. In the beginning, I was like you. I was like, it's Dishonored gameplay. Story is something, I guess. He doesn't remember anything, so you're kind of starting fresh with him. You're learning what your situation is. I got an idea of kind of how it's starting to pan out. There may be some twists and turns, and I'm looking forward to that. But the interactions with Juliana and Colt are fantastic, and they're fun, and they're silly. I agree with you that combat can be stressful, especially because you're so vulnerable in the beginning. Like, if you get caught with your pants down in a firefight, or there's a turret behind you, and you don't just tear ass out of there and collect yourself, you're going to die. Mm-hmm. But they do a couple of cool things to help soften that blow in the beginning that I like. There is the augment you get early on where you get up to 2 chances in a run, and the third death is what actually resets you.
Yeah.
And that's nice.
That. Yeah.
And it kind of, if you die the first or second time, it just kind of rewinds you back to right before your most recent fight. So that way you can try again. And that's cool. Mm-hmm. And the AI itself is dumb as a box of rocks. They forget about you the moment like a squirrel runs in front of them. You know what I mean? Again, if you decide to square off with them and they're shooting at you, they can take you down, and they probably will. But if you run back and approach, like if you just completely flub an encounter and they're all over you and you run away and wait for just a hot second, you have infinite chances to reapproach an encounter and do it better. And if you're clever, there are a lot of things in the environment you can hack, like turrets and cameras, different ways to kind of get the drop on your enemies. There's a kick mechanic, and you kick the fuck out of people. They go flying. I have kicked so many people off cliffs. It's like Sparta, the game. I love it. So yeah, I'm having a really great time with it. I can see why Big Nkrumah loves it so much, because he was talking about it last night. As it stands right now, looking back at all the gaming experiences I had this year, it's highly likely that this will make it into the top 5. But more to come on that. I won't say for 100%, but, and I'm happy because both of us were really blah about the game because of the marketing.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I get it, it's coming out.
And I felt bad because it's like black lead. You have a male and a female black lead, and we're rooting for everybody black. So I was like, I feel bad I don't like this. I want to like it. So I am happy to report that it's super likable, and that once you get your hands on it, like, you see immediately all the charm that it possesses, and it just continues to get better the more you play it.
Yeah. Yep.
Something that doesn't get better the more you play it
is the Matrix Awakens.
Or basically the Unreal Engine demo.
Yeah, so at the Game Awards, they announced that there was going to be an Unreal 5 demo of the Matrix. And everybody was
only on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S.
It's going to be awesome. So it starts off with Keanu Reeves just giving a spiel about the Matrix and, what is life and what makes us make our choices. And it's actually him. And then they switch over to a video game version of him. And I'm not going to... Yeah, like that part was so fucking good. I was like, wait, what?
Wait, is that a computer, Keanu? My eyes. Ow.
Yeah, and they kept switching them back and forth just to fuck with you. And then we get to the car chase, which again still looks good. It's a little uncanny. It's different though, because you know that Keanu doesn't look like that anymore, obviously, and you can still tell
but you can
that
hear his age in his voice. I don't know. You can tell there's an old man voice in that young face.
Right. So we get to this car chase, and the gameplay during the car chase actually looks phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, plays and
well, because it's autopilot.
On rail. Yeah, it's on rails.
You can hold the fire button, and it will automatically stop firing whenever your target's out of range. Like if a car goes in front of it, the gun will just pull up. And you can only target the tires. You flick the stick, and it automatically just moves. You can't actually free move your reticle around.
Right.
So it's as on rails can be. You basically go through that chase sequence, shooting cars and watching them fly up in the air, and then occasionally there's a cutscene of a bunch of agents get on the car or whatever, right? And then you blow something up. Cool.
Yeah, eventually you start, after you play it for a while, you're like, okay, this is starting to look less and less like real and feel more video gamey.
For sure.
But where it really fucking dropped the ball was after you finish that whole scene, you're allowed to walk around as the third character that they introduced in the city, and it looks bad comparatively.
I mean, it is a recreation of a large part of New York City. Obviously.
No, I just meant like the city looked great. City looked great. I meant the character model.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the character model did not look nearly as good as it did during the car chase or during those scenes.
Yeah, well, those are pre-rendered CG cutscenes.
I know.
But I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's just a tech demo, because you can go through and like pull the shaders and like the different points of articulation. You can pull sliders to see like how the objects collide, how the sound bounces off, the physics. You can fly around in a drone or walk around the city on feet. And that's it. It's literally like, look what we can do in Unreal. And I don't know why we needed an advertisement for Unreal to be given to us.
Yeah, because like whatever games we play, are going to use Unreal if they use Unreal. And that's it.
Yeah, I don't know why that needs to be sold to us. I don't buy a game because of the engine they used.
Right.
I buy it because the content seems interesting and that the people making it seem competent. I don't...
Maybe that was aimed specifically at developers. And they were just like, we'll make this for the developers, but also other people.
Also, let's advertise the movie while we're at it. Fuck it.
Basically, that's all it is.
Yeah, so should you waste your time downloading the 30 gigs this thing is? Like, it's huge. No, you should not. If you have a PS5 or an Xbox Series X or S, if you're like a diehard Matrix super fan, yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt to download it. Go ahead. Just go in and not expecting much. But if you're either blasé about the Matrix or the movies are okay, there's no gameplay really to be had here.
Yeah.
It's just holding down a button, watching bullets pop out of a gun, and then you're done.
Yeah, and when you're walking around as her, it gives you the option to fly.
Yeah, the drone. Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't tell you it's a drone. So I'm like, oh shit, I get to fly. And then it's just like the camera
the prompt
slowly panning. I was like, what the fuck?
Does say fly. It doesn't say drone until after you're already a drone.
Whoa,
and then
I can fly. Whoa.
What sucks is they already showed Neo flying out of a car, so you expect that like you'll fly like Neo. No, you're just drone.
To be fair,
to be fair, the speed at which you fly that drone is pretty decent for open world. Usually just because of loading and rendering limitations, you can't go that fast in an open world. People often wonder, how can you have a jet in Saints Row and it goes like 15 miles an hour? Well, I'm like, the higher up you go, the slower you have to go because you have to load all that shit in. But the speed at which you move throughout the city is a decent clip when you speed up the drone. But at the same time, there's literally nothing to do.
Absolutely nothing.
But just look at it and then maybe fuck with the shaders. So, waste of time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into the gaming news. Gaming news. All right. We have a couple of little baby stories before we get into the game awards, the game commercials, as we like to call them. Let's see here. Nintendo recently updated their eShop to add a filter for longest average playtime. So you could order games in the eShop by the longest average playtime in the last 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Which I think is actually pretty cool. And I hope that other stores follow suit and give us much more filtering options, especially as the digital shops grow. But this is interesting because if you're looking for a game that's like bang for your buck that a lot of people are playing or putting a lot of hours into, obviously Pokemon is near the top of that list right now. So is Shin Megami.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to see a lot of RPGs in there, things that take up a lot of time. But yeah, I just thought that was of note. And
that's pretty cool.
If you want to filter the eShop that way, you can. Spider-Man Remastered, Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered, is getting an update with 2 suits from No Way Home.
Sweet.
For free.
When I watched that trailer, I was like, what the fuck are they showing me? I didn't even realize they were the suits for No Way Home. I was like, yeah, new Spider-Man trailer. Awesome. Yeah. It's the same. Oh, okay.
New suits.
Right.
Oh, you brought up this story to me earlier in the week. I think this all unfolded on Tuesday, which is like bam. Sony fires PlayStation executive allegedly caught in pedophilia sting.
Ooh.
George.
Baby.
What's his name? George Cassiopo?
Cassiopo.
George is having a bad week.
He's having a terrible week.
The senior vice president from the team behind PlayStation allegedly tried to arrange a meeting with a 15-year-old boy, according to a video posted by the YouTube channel People vs. Preds.
Love it.
Like Predator.
Yeah.
Now, I looked into this channel. People vs. Preds has been around for about 4 months. It's got just under 30,000 subs, and they have over 90 pedophiles that they have caught in the act or like attempting to be terrible.
Yeah.
And I watched the video, like, the guy was wearing his PS5 t-shirt. I was like, damn, dude.
Yeah. He walked outside. Look, my issue is that he invited this kid to his house.
Yeah.
And, like, it's not actually a kid. It was an adult, but
obviously, well, he
thought it
was
was a kid.
inviting a child to his house. Yeah.
And the guy just walks up to the door.
Like, hey, bro, I can
He's
call
like,
the police. We can have a conversation, bro.
Right. And then he just walks back in like, whoops. Doopsie.
Yeah, the YouTuber sounds like a ghost hunter. He's like, are there any ghosts here, bro?
Right? I'm telling you, man, this world is changing, man. It's not safe for pedophiles anymore. It is not safe.
These YouTube channels will get you.
Yeah.
So. I can't say I feel too bad for him for obvious reasons.
Not at all.
But that's wild. And of course, Sony, like I said, they immediately fired him.
As they should.
I don't know as of now if any charges have been brought against George, like for conspiracy to commit a crime or how that whole thing shakes out. But obviously, his face is all over the thumbnail in the video. He is fully disgraced. He'll never work in this town again.
Mm-hmm.
Although maybe he will. I don't know. We've hired worse for less. Anyways, moving on from that drama, we get to the Game Awards.
Oh, baby.
Geoff Keighley's baby.
Mm-hmm.
I've said in the past, despite his shortcomings and despite my criticisms of him, no one else is doing what Geoff Keighley is doing as far as like putting on something like this. That was my defense.
Right.
But I don't know. After this year,
Yeah.
He came out the gate like, guys, it just has to be said. Harassment is bad. And we as a gaming community have to stop harassing each other, and we have to not put up with harassment in gaming.
Now, welcome to the stage.
Quantic Dream.
No, it was
somebody from
Giancarlo.
Ubisoft. Oh, yeah.
Not that Giancarlo Esposito has done anything wrong, but
no.
In the game,
but just the funny that he
Ubisoft.
was promoting a game from Ubisoft, who we all know harbors many abusers, even those who left the company that still get tons of money from stocks that they own in Ubisoft. But yeah, Quantic Dream released a game, and they didn't remove any Activision Blizzard games from categories, as far as I could tell, but they just weren't invited, I guess. Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah, I believe a member of Activision is on the board for the Game Awards, like. Activision, helps pay for it. So it's kind of like,
all right, Geoff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Geoff, his little vanity project, and trying to like have it both ways and pretend like he gives a shit. Fuck that guy. There were some tweets he put out where he was saying like he was just kind of backpedaling, like first acting like it wasn't a big deal and being like, oh, And again,
we're not taking sides. It's about the games, baby.
We've seen lip service to this whole issue from everybody in the industry major that isn't Activision Blizzard, but what's actually being done? That's my whole point. So for him to do that at the beginning of the awards, like he gave a fuck, kind of gross.
Yeah.
That aside, fuck Geoff Keighley. Anyways, so
now let's continue to talk about his baby.
The game commercials. We're in the business for it. So
yeah.
I didn't write down all the awards, but I thought I'd run through some of the notables.
Okay.
So in the pre-show, they had Games for Impact, which to me is like indie games, or not even necessarily indie games, but games that represent a more diverse approach to storytelling, characters, gameplay. And Life is Strange took that, which it was the biggest one on the list. So I kind of get it. True Colors specifically. And then Resident Evil Village won a couple of awards. They won Reddit's Game of the Year. Cool. Yeah. And Best Performance, Maggie Robertson as Lady Dimitrescu.
Yes, Mommy Milk.
Now, you had alluded to this earlier when we were talking about Deathloop. Lady D is in Resident Evil all of like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
She's like the first section of that game. And again, she has a handful of scenes. And I think the fervor and the memeing of that character really led to this award. Not to say that her performance was bad. It was
right, because
serviceable.
It definitely was good.
Yeah. Like she came in and did what she needed to do. And she herself is tall and beautiful. So go Maggie. But I agree with you that really should have went to Deathloop.
Yeah.
Specifically Colt and Julianne. Like they were fantastic. And I haven't even played the whole game, but I've already heard more from Colt than I have from Lady D. Some of these awards are just going to be a popularity contest. Forza Horizon 5 won Best Audio Design. Cool.
Cool.
Innovation and Accessibility, which I hear is well earned. Best sports racing. I can't disagree.
Right.
Name a better racing game this year. I'll wait.
Hot Wheels.
Cruising
Blast.
It's a better sports game. Skateboard. I don't even think Skateboard was up for it. Best debut indie game and best independent game overall. Kena, Bridge of Spirits.
Yes.
Hey.
I don't think I've talked about this on the show, but I have played it.
Yeah.
And it's really beautiful, and I really like it. It just reminds me of PS2 platformers. Your Jack and Daxters, your Ratchet and Clanks, blah, blah, blah.
Beyond Good and Evil.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's a type of game we don't get much anymore. We got to support those for sure. So happy to hear about that. Best action game. A lot of people were kind of upset about this, especially in our Discord, but I appreciated it because I really particularly enjoy the action in this game. Returnal. Returnal got best action, and I have to agree, like, some of the hardest... I mean, again, it is, and these are becoming increasingly popular in the mainstream, with Deathloop and now Returnal, like, these roguelike games. And Returnal is one of them for sure, because when you die, you go back to the beginning and just start over. But if done correctly, the difficulty can just go right up to the edge of frustration, but also be surmountable. Whenever you fail, you feel like it's your fault. Whenever you succeed, you feel like it's your fault. And it's really engaging. And I have to admit, like, Returnal did that fantastically. So kudos to Returnal.
Great.
Deathloop did win Best Art Direction and Best Game Direction. Best Game Direction in particular, super agree. I haven't even played more than maybe 4 hours of it so far.
Yeah, I've played like 2, and I'm like, yeah, I'm with it.
Player's Voice Award, Halo Infinite, whatever.
Even though it dropped that day.
Sure. Best Role-Playing Game, Tales of Arise. Could it be anybody else? Could it be?
What else came? Well, SMT 5 came out.
SMT, Pokemon, Persona 5 Strikers, if you want to stretch it. Could it be?
But no.
Anything else?
No.
Bravely Default 2, that came out this year.
Yeah, but
I haven't got a chance to play it, so I can't really say.
I haven't got a chance to play it either, but
could
like
it be?
Tales of Arise.
Anything else?
No.
I want there it is. I know.
My lyrics for the I want to meet a girl like that. Those aren't the words, but that's just what I feel in.
Take her to meet my mommy and daddy. I know.
Right.
I know.
I know. She's old.
Oh man, we have to do a song where we read the lyrics. Those are fun. Best score in music, Nier Replicant. Okay,
haven't played it. Played Nier Automata, and
Nier games have good music. I believe it. I'll buy it. Best narrative, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. Super buy that.
I was surprised that it won.
I was surprised and pleased.
I am glad it did.
Yeah, deserves it. Best action adventure, Metroid Dread, the worst game of all time.
Deserves it.
It does deserve
it. It's good.
No. I joke, I kid, I tease. I'm fully aware that I am deservedly in the minority and not enjoying the game as much as everybody else. Best esports game, League of Legends. Cool. Yeah. Best fighting game, Guilty Gear Strive.
There was no comp on that. And I haven't even played Guilty Strive.
Yeah.
Like, the Demon Slayer game was in the category.
It was kind of dry this year.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, they had Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl on there. I was like, oh, no.
No, baby. What is you doing?
What is you doing? Right. It got spicy. Best strategy game, Age of Empires 4K.
Okay.
Most anticipated game, Elden Ring. I'll buy that.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, the best family game, the best multiplayer game, and game of the year. It Takes Two, baby. It Takes Two, baby. I love that game so much. Just me and you. I love that game so much. I was so happy when that won.
Just the two of us.
It was just me celebrating too in the call. I was like, yeah. Everybody was just like,
Yeah, no, I was excited too.
Oh yeah.
Just a funny thing, we were watching it in the Gamer Friends Discord on a voice call.
Yeah.
And Big Nkrumah hops on And he's like 20 seconds ahead. He's just
know.
spoiling shit and spoiling it. I muted him so fast. After the first thing he spoiled, I was like, mute.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
Which
to
is
be fair, he was teasing, and after a while, he wasn't really spoiling anything. He was joking and saying things weren't true when they were and throwing people off. And then he muted himself. He knew. He was like, I could pause this and be on par with you guys, but I enjoy the power too much of...
Right.
I'm basically Professor X. And I was like, you know what? I can't be mad.
I was like that. I was like, this is kind of disrespectful since it is his Discord, but mute.
Sorry, Big Nick. He muted you. But no, I'm pretty sure he would have done the same in your shoes, so don't worry about it. But no, it was a fun night for awards. Not too many upsets. I mean, other than I would say probably best performance. I really think that was just memes. It should have went to Deathloop, but okay. I'm going to run through really quickly on every new thing that was announced and maybe briefly stop to talk about things I was excited about. But if I blast past something that you want to talk about, just stop me, okay?
All right.
So, it is the game commercials. We go there for the awards, sure, but we also go there to see all the new shit that they drop because this is what they do. No Waluigi for Smash, unfortunately.
Nope.
Still waiting on that. Where's that at? We got a Texas Chainsaw Massacre multiplayer game, Homeworld 3, Telltale's The Expanse. I can't believe Telltale's making games again. That's wild to me.
Right.
Chivalry 2, House Aberfell, Monster Hunter Rise DLC, Sunbreak with Amiibo, and those Amiibo look fantastic.
I think it flashed by too fast for me, and I missed what they look like. I'll have to look them up.
Yeah, no, they're all over the place, but yeah, they look even better than the original Monster Hunter Rise Amiibo. They look really cool.
Sweet.
Thirsty Suitors. Basically, Susan Pilgrim versus the world. I think her name is Jala, but she's fighting her exes. She's disappointing her parents. And she's finding herself. Yeah. It's super silly. Like it's like Japanese silly, but it's actually distinctly Indian. Yeah. And I haven't seen too many games explore Indian culture in this way, but also be like this fun. Usually it's kind of more somber, like Raj. But I'm all about this. I'm actually super excited for that. So that's one to watch. Let's see. Have a Nice Death, Persona 4, Arena, Ultimax, coming to PS4, Steam, and Switch. Sweet. Wonder Woman. Yeah. Wonder Woman's getting her own game. Now, this is interesting. They didn't say this during the show, but I found out this later on. Now, we already know that Monolith is developing. They did Fear and most recently the Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War series. They said they are going to utilize the Nemesis system in this game. I know. So we know it's probably going to be an action-based game, right? But how Nemesis do?
I don't know.
With Wonder Woman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm intrigued. I can kind of guess. Okay, so the main antagonist is going to be Ares, and he's going to have an army, and the point of the game is going to get to Ares. Okay. And there may be like various supervillains that are the top captains or whatever. Okay. And yeah, I think that's how it's going to work. But
yeah, but how do you make supervillains jobbers? Like the Nemesis system work with orcs because they're fucking.
Well,
orcs.
No, I mean like the regular enemies will be like the Nemesis part of it, but obviously there will be like supervillains that you defeat one time and they're done. Or just like in Shadow of Mordor, where they're like the generals or the lieutenants that you have to get to after fighting through all the enemies.
So like the main guys at the top of the little pyramids or the sections of the army are going to be named supervillains, and below them are like themed jobbers that will utilize the could be. Yeah, no, I'm just really happy that she's getting a game. Cool. They've tried and failed at Superman how many times? They've been doing well with Batman for years, and she just never really got a good shake. So yeah, hopefully that'll work out.
The last of the big three.
Yep, Alan Wake 2. Woo, baby! So we got a very gorgeous looking pre-rendered trailer. It's coming out 2023. And they showed next gen Alan Wake. Now, those who played Control Ultimate Edition and played the Alan Wake themed DLC, Alan Wake likes to use like real live actors, and Control did too in some of their videos. This Alan Wake looks really close to the actor that they used in Control, and obviously really different from the 360 Alan Wake just because of graphical differences.
I thought it was Jake Gyllenhaal for a second.
I know, right? He does look like a wild Jake Gyllenhaal. He looks great, and I'm excited to see, if they're going to push this whole madness angle. So it's going to be fun to see. But again, no gameplay or anything, but, they don't really put out bad games. They put out decent games. So I'm excited to see how it works out. Star Wars Eclipse. So this is the game by Quantic Dream, which, for those who don't know, they did Heavy Rain, Indigo Prophecy, Beyond Two Souls, Detroit Become Human. And so originally I was wondering, is this going to be a Star Wars game, but just story-driven a la Heavy Rain, which is not terrible, but also not what I want. And it looks like there were leaks and coverage on this game as far back as September that completely went under my radar. From what Kotaku has reported, there is going to be definitely a story-focused game in the vein of their other titles, but also they're going to work in a lot of space combat and lightsaber battles. So there could be an action game with just a really thick story. And the last time that I can recall Quantic Dream doing an action game is a little known game called Omnicron with David Bowie. And it was a little bit buggy, but again, they've had a lot of practice since then. Maybe they could do an action game. I don't know, but it would be outside of their recent wheelhouse.
Yeah, that trailer was amazing, though. Even
it
though
looks
it was
great,
all
but
CG,
Quantic Dream games always graphically, for their time, they always look great.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic about that one. Anyways, Final Fantasy VII Remake announced for PC. Destiny 2, The Witch Queen. Looks great for Destiny fans.
Destiny.
And this next one's pretty big. This is probably my favorite of the show, Slitterhead.
Yeah, spider face.
It still sounds... it still sounds bad to say. I feel like I'm saying some kind of slur. Anyways, Slitterhead is very exciting because they immediately announced it's from the mind of Keiichiro Toyama, which is one of the main creative designers from original Team Silent. Like, he did Silent Hill 1, 2, 3, and I think he worked on 4. But in particular, all the stuff that you really love about 1, 2, and 3, he had his hands all over it. And they also announced that Akira Yamaoka, who did the music for those games, is doing the music for this game as well. Now, this game is not like a psychological horror title like Silent Hill. It's an action horror title. And that trailer was wild.
Yeah, it was.
Wow. Like, this woman's face just opened up into a lot of teeth. And then, all of a sudden, her whole body, spidered out. Almost like that weird, crazy lady in The Evil Within. And, just came at this dude. I was like, no. And then, people were using blood magic to make swords. And there was action. It was just ridiculous. And I want to play it. But he started a studio called Bokeh Game Studio, and there's a bunch of industry veterans in that studio with him. I'm going to call it right now. This game is going to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think that the pedigree behind it, the talent, if anything, it's going to be interesting. I don't think it's going to turn out to be another Death Stranding. I think it's going to be something that people are actually going to enjoy. So
yeah, I'm with the action horror. I'm not full-on horror fan.
Yeah.
Besides Dead Space, obviously. But
a lot of people really do find action horror to be a lot more approachable, and I totally get that because there is some empowerment. So,
Right.
Nightingale, that game looked kind of interesting. It's PC only. It's helmed by former BioWare vet Aaron Flynn, and it's a survival crafting game with first-person shooter elements. They are targeting a 2022 re-release. It really stood out to me just for the monster design. But I don't know if it's a game I'm going to get into because I'm not really into crafting or survival on a PC. It's just not my bag.
Isn't that wasn't a multiplayer game as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm getting tired of seeing. I'm tired of seeing these awesome looking trailers for games, and it's multiplayer. Online multiplayer. It's
I want to play by myself.
Right.
Well,
stay in my room.
There is, and it's one of the last games I'm going to mention. There was a multiplayer game that was announced that I am legit excited to play. But we'll get to that in a bit. Beat Saber, Lady Gaga. That's all you need to know.
Right.
Cuphead, The Delicious Last Course.
The Delicious Last Course.
I can't tell if this is a sequel or a DLC add-on.
I feel like it's DLC.
Probably is.
I mean, literally, the Delicious Last Course.
It looks like a new character and new levels and new whatever. So, good stuff. If you love Cuphead, you get more of it. Sonic Frontiers, we don't have a whole lot to go off of. But again, looks fun. We'll see.
While we're here, that Sonic 2 trailer.
Yeah.
I've grown. Idris's voice has grown on me as Knuckles.
It's good
because I've watched the trailer many times, and Knuckles just
Yeah. What do you think I need your power, mate?
Bang! You want to give me that rundown, Sonic?
Rundown. I'll give it for you, Knuckles. The rundown. Can you give me an example of rundown? Like what's your? Oh, right. You want me to do the rundown for you? No. I got a rundown.
I'll get that rundown to you.
Get that rundown to you right away.
Gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast with the rundown. Oh man, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Is the Ugandan Knuckles, is he gonna be in it? Do you know their way? Do you know their way? He's gonna be in it.
I don't know. Oh man, but it looks fun. It looks a lot of fun. There were some cool references, Tails with his airplane. So good stuff. Warhammer Space Marine 2 Focus Home interactive game looks pretty damn cool. Yeah, I love that trailer actually. Maybe we'll see more on that. Dune Spice Wars.
Right.
Type. We got Spice Wars. It is a real-time strategy game, basically Dune themed civilization, I guess. Cool.
I know nothing of Dune, so
it's launching in 2022. If you love Civ, if you love Dune, you should be a happy camper right now. Ooh. We have Among Us VR. Not sure how that's going to work, but no, it's happening. Star Trek Resurgence.
Star Trek.
That was, I think,
that was a Telltale game as well.
That's right. That's right. We had Rumbleverse. No one cares. Halo TV series. Only on Paramount Plus.
And no one will see it.
And then
starring evil David Chappelle. So I made this joke when we were watching. It's got
evil David Chappelle.
I always forget the actor's name, but he's always
playing a villain
in the black community as evil Dave Chappelle. In which case now some people will refer to him as regular Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I can't remember his name either, but he's like in everything, and he's always the antagonist or the person that drives the plot forward negatively. Whenever he shows up, it's like, oh, get him out of here. Yeah. He's going to mess it up. He's like, we have a late addition to the heist.
Right.
My friend. No, get him out of the room. Get him out.
My friend, Pokey.
Arc Raiders is the first game from the studio founded by Electronic Arts' former chief designer. It's coming out in 2022, and it is a free-to-play, first-person sci-fi shooter in which players fight to repel a mechanized alien invasion. Think like Wild Wild West robots, like giant-ass spiders.
Yeah, sweet.
The vibe, the art style, the music, the graphics, it looked fucking gorgeous. And I just want to play it with all our gamer friends and have a really good time with it. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be like our next big thing that everybody in the group gets into. So you need to update your subscription to play online so you can play with us.
Okay.
So it's fun. It looks like a lot of fun. And just the mobility and like what you can do and the intensity of the battles. Go back and watch the trailer again if you're not excited about it.
Yeah, because I don't really remember what it looked like.
Yeah, it really it just every time I rewatch it, it keeps growing on me more and more. So I'm pretty excited about it. So yeah, that was the Game Awards.
Yeah, with all that we talked about, there was still a lot more that they announced, but those are the things that were interesting.
Yeah. No, there were updates to existing things we knew about, like the sequel to Hellblade.
Oh, yeah.
Which that trailer was wild. So there's probably trailer groupings out there for the Game Awards if you didn't get a chance to catch it, so you can sit and watch, what interests you. And hopefully what we've talked about already will get you to go out and seek a few of those out. Not a whole lot of representation from Nintendo this year outside of Monster Hunter.
A bunch of B-roll reels.
Yeah.
And that was it.
So, but, whatever. All right. So we do have a listener question this week.
Oh, yeah.
There is a TikTok channel that I follow, and I think I'll put a link to it in the show notes so you guys can check it out. He seems like a really nice guy. He's constantly asking gamer-related questions, and I really like this one that he asked. His name is Dustin, and he wanted to know from the people out there, what two gaming franchises would you like to see come together to form their own game? Like, what kind of crossover would you like to see?
Mine is just something that I've been wanting ever since one of these games came out. Devil May Cry and Bayonetta. In essence, it would be the same as either Devil May Cry or Bayonetta.
Much,
it wouldn't, but I'm more here for the interactions between Dante and Bayonetta. I want to see some flirting, you know, I want to see them trying to one-up each other on the cool factor. Her doing her little sexual movies. He's like, oh yeah.
Super smoking style.
Right. And then him like, I don't know, deflecting a bunch of angel halos and doing like a bunch of crazy shit. Like just,
sure.
I don't know. I would just like to see that. The cutscenes that would come from that would be fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Because you know how they do their cutscenes on both those games. It's just, oof. I would just love to see it. Just more of the same amazing things together.
Cool. I think I've already talked about this on the show before, but I want it so bad I will never pass up an opportunity to talk about it. I want a Final Fantasy Warriors game.
Oh yeah,
I want. I
want
Final Fantasy Cross Muso, baby.
Why is that not a thing yet?
Why is it not a thing? There's a Dragon Quest Warriors game. There's a Persona Warriors game. I mean, in my mind, it's the big three. It's Final Fantasy, Persona, and Dragon Quest. Like those are the mammoth JRPGs.
You know how long you can milk that series for,
dude? They have so much material, so many characters,
so much materia.
Nice. They have so much material and summons and lore and shared, things across all. Like it would blend so easily if they wanted to do like one of those world crossover events like they do at Dissidia. Yeah. In fact, I'm pretty sure Team Ninja or the developers that do Warriors games, I feel like they did Dissidia. Maybe Omega Force partly worked on that. I don't know, but I know that they have assets existing already that they could use. It would be so easy for them to do one.
Just seeing Cloud, Squall, Tidus.
Final Fantasy does all that shit already. I mean, think about all the million mobile spin-offs and game spin-offs and all. You could legit just
do one Warriors game per Final Fantasy game,
and it would
have plenty of characters.
Really fill it up.
Yeah.
Yep. Dude. Oh my god!
Just beating up enemies as Waka.
Just throwing blitz balls.
Yeah, man. I got a Jamaican accent. I'm a brother, all right?
Yeah, brother. Oh man, good stuff. So that would be my hope for a franchise crossover. But let us know, listeners out there, if you have just a banger of an idea for two franchises that can combine to make an even greater game. What would that look like? What would that be? Let us know. We'll be happy to discuss your answers on the next episode. All right. It's like we're getting in there as far as the length of the episode, but let me ask you this week, what you feeling?
I am feeling an old show by the name of The Parenthood. It is a show starring Robert Townsend. It's one of the many Black-centric sitcoms that came out back in the day. And I'd never heard of it or seen it before a couple weeks ago. And Vicky was like, oh my god, this show, it's on HBO Max. She's like, oh my god, I used to watch this show all the time. I love this show, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, Robert Townsend. I love Robert Townsend just for Meteor Man. Just for Meteor Man. So I was like, okay, let me give this a shot. And it actually holds up. The jokes are still funny. The only thing that like kind of irked my nerves was when I realized that the Parenthood was hood and parent was separate. So, and they're a well-off family.
But they just named it
like the Cosby Show. Yeah.
Yeah.
That just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But I was like, maybe they wanted to make the show, obviously Robert Townsend agreed to it. I don't know. I don't know how that worked.
Gotta get that white man's money somehow.
Right. The parent. Oh, you know what? I believe there was a Parenthood series before. Or something like that. So maybe they had to do that to differentiate. Well, no. It didn't have to be the parent, quote, hood.
No, it didn't.
Okay. But either way, the show is funny. The show is hilarious. The youngest kid on there, every time he comes on, he's like, he's so cute. He's like missing like 4 of his front top teeth. Okay. And he's just he's a little chunky kid. And he's really
like, where are we about to eat at?
Right. No.
Where are we about to eat at?
But it's a really good show, and I'm like 6 episodes in, and I'm going to keep watching it. So The Parenthood is what I'm feeling. Mike, what are you feeling this week?
I'm feeling a video that came out by one of the YouTubers I've already recommended, FD Signifier. He came out with a video called Break Bread. And it contained I've seen somebody else, and I can't remember exactly who did it, but somebody had recently broken down like the history of YouTube and the flow of like major content. But his breakdown and history of YouTube was fantastic. He started with like, you know, the family videos and the cat videos to what he calls the Augies, angry white guys yelling. So yelling about video games or nostalgia critic, that type of thing. Yeah. And then how that morphed into like the atheist tube. So a lot of them yelling about religion. And then how that kind of ugly morphed into anti-SJW content, how they all went after Anita Sarkeesian. And then it became like this right-wing tube that people were being funneled to because outrage gets clicks and engagement, and YouTube was shifting to engagement. And then how led to the culmination of like Trump being elected president, and we got past that, and now we have BreadTube or leftist YouTube, but how it's kind of white bread tube because everybody's white.
Yeah.
And it's true, like most of the leftists that I'm subscribed to on YouTube up to just recently, other than like FD and maybe a few others like T1J, they were all white. And he talked about the algorithm and how it filters people, and like how black people get filtered, you know, to make up tutorials in the manosphere, and how they don't really have a space for them on the leftist side, and how leftist tube is more about like intellectual discourse and research, and like why the black community can't be a part of this, because there are clearly talented people that do that work. It was fascinating to see it broken down. I actually discovered a couple of new channels that I really like. I mean, I'm a big fan of Lindsay Ellis, and he had mentioned this channel. Her name is Yara Zayd, and she's just like Lindsay, but not near as popular. And again, it just comes down to them trying to like, the algorithm doesn't specifically target race, but through all of the data they collect, it's almost like they extrapolate and then filter accordingly.
Right.
On this show, we're supporting everybody black. And I feel like if you lean left like we do, and you feel like that type of content, if you look at politics or if you look at just theory or just, you know, breakdowns, like if it all is skewing a certain way, this is a way to kind of fight back against the algorithm. So check him out. But in the show notes, I'm going to put down a list of leftist black creators on YouTube that I think you should check out and that he's recommended to me that I think are fantastic. And I hope that you'll check them out and subscribe to them if you're so inclined. So that is what I'm feeling this week.
Awesome.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that's the show.
Yeah. That's
oh
a
my
big
God.
boy.
It's your big boy. Next week, I do want to kind of tease what we're doing next week. I don't like to call audibles on guests, but we will potentially get somebody who's associated with Fallout next week.
Okay.
So if you're down, I would like to try to play some Fallout this week just to kind of refresh. Have you beaten any of the Fallout games?
I've never beaten a Fallout game.
Okay. All right.
I've played 3 of them.
Okay. I've beaten Fallout 3 and Fallout 4.
Okay.
So let's talk offline about like how we want to tackle that. Not that, you know, we don't know enough to talk about Fallout, but I thought it'd be kind of cool to freshen up this week. So look forward to that. I think it's going to be pretty interesting. The guest that we have is pretty cool. And we're going to take a quick break for a word from our sponsor. I'll be right back to let you know where you can find us throughout the week. Don't go nowhere. And we're back. To close it out. Let's bring it on home. Derek, it's the holiday season. People are out here thinking about gift ideas for their gamer friends, the friends who like goodies, also the friends who like more. Where can they get all these things?
They can ho on. I'm just playing. They can check out my eBay store at ebay.com/str/gamergoodies and more. Got a ton of awesome video games on there. Just message me. Let me know what you're into, and we'll see if we got it for you. You can hit me up on Instagram at gamergoodiesmore and on Twitter at goodies_more.
Excellent. And don't forget, we upload new episodes to our hub at anchor.fm/player2isnterthepod every single Sunday. But our podcast is also available on other platforms, including Breaker, Google Podcast, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And you can find us on a myriad of social medias. I'm talking TikTok.com/@player2isentherthepod, Facebook.com/player2isentherthepod, YouTube, Player 2 has entered the podcast. They just released YouTube Shorts, and I've been moving our TikTok content over to YouTube Shorts.
Oh, shit.
And it's been doing all right. So it's been nice. We got a few extra subs out of it. We don't have a huge presence on YouTube. Most of us listen on more convenient podcast platforms. But for those who do, we're adding more content on there for you. If you would like to support us, feel free to check us out on those platforms. Subscribe, follow, comment, like, rate, whatever you do, it helps us out. If you really want to help us out, patreon.com/player2 is under the pod. We do provide extra goodies and gifts for those who decide to support us on that platform. You can also contact us directly through those social media platforms or by emailing us at mcpaperstacks@gmail.com. Reach out if you have listener questions, guest suggestions, feedback, etc. We would love to hear from you. You can follow me personally on Twitter. I'm at Mike Peterson AL. I have a Twitch. I've really let the ball drop on it. I'm trying to figure out how I kind of want to get back into it. If you have ideas, let me know. Otherwise, some highlights, some older stuff, it can all be found over at twitch.tv/mcpaperstacks. And then a full archive of all my streams can be found on YouTube at MC Paperstacks Plays. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our show.
And what a show it was.
What a show it was. Thank you for coming out to listen to us this week. We appreciate you. We love you. And we will see you next week. Take care.
Peace.